Hi, my name is Alfredo Gutierrez from Cisco ACI Tag Team. Today, I want to show you how to deploy a new ACI fabric in Cisco releases. Beginning with Cisco APIC Release 602H, the initial cluster setup and bootstrapping procedure has been simplified with addition of graphical user interface screens, better known as GUI, to bring up a cluster. The APIC Cluster Bring Up GUI supports virtual and physical APIC platforms. The virtual APICs and physical APICs can be connected to the ACI fabric directly to the leaf switches or remotely attached through a layer 3 network. The GUI supports both the scenarios. A major advantage of using the APIC Cluster Bring Up GUI is that you don't need to enter the parameters for every APIC in the cluster. One APIC can relay the information to the other APICs on the cluster. Requisites. APIC image is already deployed and CIMC is running. Connect to the CIMC platform via KVM or connect via serial over LAN SOL after enabling the CIMC. For logging and cluster operations, the default port is 443 that belongs to HTTPS. Other ports are not supported. For the physical APIC cluster, configure the out-of-band address for APIC1. Ensure that the CIMC address of all the APICs in the cluster are reachable via the out-of-band address of APIC1. It is a mandatory step. Diagram. This diagram shows in total 3 APICs, 2 leaf switches, and 1 spine that need to be discovered for the video purposes. The IPs in use are private IPs, and the connections were made just for the laboratory. APIC 1 and APIC 2 are connected to the leaf 101 using just one connection, while APIC 3 is just connected to the leaf 102. Both of the leaf switches are connected to the spine 201 to complete the discovery of all the devices. To start the discovery process, log into the APIC 1 KVM console using the CIMC and hit Enter. Wait until you see the APIC Setup utility configuration. Then, set the admin password and re-enter the password for confirmation. Configure the out-of-band IP address that the APIC is going to use. This IP address should be reachable between the APICs and all the CIMC servers that host the APIC image. Set the default gateway for that out-of-band network IP address and finish the configuration. At the screen, a HTTPS link appears to complete the bootstrapping. In here, the first change from the last versions is observed. The setup utility configuration now can be completed from the GUI and other APICs can join from there. Access to the HTTPS link through a web browser. A new window will appear. Is the GUI of APIC number 1, in where you can access the admin password that you have configured. Click on Begin Setup. Some of the new features and how the ACI onboarding experience has been modified and improved for the user is shown on the screen. Remember that now the cluster relies on the connectivity between APIC 1 and the CIMC for the other APICs. There is no need to connect each additional APIC since all the settings are pushed from here. In order to bring up the APIC cluster, we need to complete the following process. First, connection type. Select one of the two options to connect the APICs into the fabric. The first method is when the APIC is directly connected to the leaf switches. For the video, this option is selected. The second option is when the APIC is remotely connected through a layer 3 network. Second, cluster details. Select the fabric name, cluster size, GPO pool softnet, pod ID, TEP pool softnet, and the infrastructure VLAN. Remember that some of these values, as the infrastructure VLAN, cannot be modified once you finish the configuration, and a wipe is needed in case you need to change them. Third, controller registration. Navigate to the right side of the screen at Edit Controller and select the controller type. Physical is the one selected for this video. Then navigate to the CIMC details and complete the following parameters: IP address of the CAMC, username, and password. Click on Validate to confirm that the data is correct. Remember that at this part, the cluster relies on the communication between the APIC and the CAMC. Then, you can select the name ID for the APIC number 1. For this APIC, the out-of-band is pre-configured. Click on Save. Once APIC 1 is configured, click on Add Controller and complete the same controller information with the data of APIC number 2, and also for APIC number 3. For these two APICs, configure the out-of-band network that they are going to use. When all the APICs on the cluster are added, click on Next. Fourth, summary. Confirm that all the data for all the APICs on the cluster is OK, and click on Deploy. A new window shows the progress of the bootstrap and how each of the APICs is added into the cluster. Wait a few minutes until it is done. Once the bootstrap and the cluster bring up is completed at each of the APICs, the screen is redirected to the APIC number 1 HTTPS link. The Fabric discovery continues with now discovering the leaf switches in where the APICs are connected. To accomplish this, navigate to Fabric, Inventory, Fabric Membership, Nodes Pending Registration. Since APIC number 2 is physically connected to the leaf 101, register that switch, confirm the name, .id, node ID, and click Submit. Once it is registered, the APIC will start its process to join into the cluster with APIC number 1. To validate this, navigate to System, Controllers, APIC 1, expand the menu, Cluster seen as by node. At the screen, now the APIC number 2 is showing part of the cluster in a fully fit status. Finally, since APIC number 3 is connected to the leaf 102, a spine needs to be discovered to then discover the leaf itself. In order to discover the spine and the leaf, follow the same process that you did in order to discover leaf 101. Once the spine 201 and leaf 102 are discovered, APIC number 3 is automatically joined into the cluster. Thank you for the time you took to watch this video.